All right. Hello, we are the Bearded Review. This is our first episode ever, bringing you on the latest and greatest in right side news.
Sure.
It's biased, but it's the right bias.
Fair.
All right, what do you got?
True.
Lead us off.
So first off, let me just bring the mic in a little more here. So first off, a big thing that happened for the right, Georgia did announce that they would be doing a recount of the votes, a hand recount.
Yes,
And
not only was it, I'm not sure if it was Pennsylvania, but they did there was supposed to be a full all of the bag, right? Audit, recount, and
I think
I'd
I'd have to double check on that one.
Just double check real quickly.
I know I'm definitely positive about the recount in Georgia though, and it's going to be a hand recount, and that's like super important, because if it were just a normal recount, then it would be up for as much fraudulent activity that we've seen be like that have like the chance of happening. But with a hand recount, it's a lot harder for fraud like that we've been seeing to happen. Another thing that came up, I really can't remember what company it was. I know they did announce that they have a COVID vaccine coming out that is about...
Brisma. Brisma is not Brisma. It was the one
that started with a P.
Yeah, that's right. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, they did announce that they do have a COVID vaccine in the works that is about 90%, give or take, successful, and this is obviously a huge thing for everyone, and especially America in itself and the world, really. But
Pfizer. That's what it was, not Brisma. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Russian corporation. Elapsed with the the Hunter Biden story. So Pfizer was the company that is a part of Operation Warp Speed, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Operation Warp Speed. They came out. The CEO said that he is leading the way on a COVID vaccine that should be delivered to us by, I think he said, early next year in 2021. Funny enough, CNN actually jumped out first and said, well, they're not a part of it. They weren't a part of. Pfizer wasn't a part of the Operation Warp Speed,
mm-hmm.
which was a technicality only because Donald Trump stated in the order that any company that were to come out with the vaccine first would be purchased in great numbers by the United States government, which technically would make Pfizer, if it were to come out first and purchase, that would make it technically a part of Operation Warp Speed. So
yeah, and I mean, part of Project Warp Speed or not, I mean, it's still, like I said, huge deal. It's
absolutely a huge deal.
I think it was November 9th when it was like really released. I want to say November 9th was about a Tuesday, I think, and it was either a Monday or a Tuesday, and I'm a big stock market aficionado. And if you look, you can see that a lot of these companies were jumping up in prices because everyone is reinvesting to these companies, because there is a foreseeable end in sight. Before, we all know that Trump was talking about vaccines that were in development, and we didn't know how close they were really until now, and a lot of people really didn't want to take his word for it. And he did keep coming out and saying, we do have a vaccine and it is close to being done. And not even, I think he said that during the second presidential debate.
Yes.
And
yes, he did.
I'm slowly losing my train of thought. When he says that during the second debate, it would be a couple weeks later that this company, I think Pfizer, you said?
Yeah, Pfizer.
And, they did come out and say that they do have this vaccine that will be ready soon. And, back to the stock market, you can see that, like I said, a lot of these companies jumped up in prices. The Dow Jones, if a lot of people don't know, Dow Jones is the stock market of the country, and it's like the stock market account, I guess.
Yeah.
And it jumped up by several hundred points. I want to say around 12 to 1,500 points.
Now it's just
which,
out of everything generally. It just jumped up.
No, you can see that there's a huge spike.
Okay, a huge spike in just the economy in general, trying to rebound.
It's across the board, and it's not just in like Dow Jones. It's really everyone was investing everywhere. And if you do look for like today, even you'll see that that price did go down only because when it did spike, a lot of people put their money in, but also pulled their money out. And that's, kind of how the stock market works.
Yeah.
When it goes up, you take out, but when it goes low, then obviously
is when you start to put in.
Yeah.
Now, something interesting that I want to spin off to what you said. So going off the Pfizer and just a vaccine in general. Now, it's really tough when you have people like, the Honorable Kamala Harris and our president-elect, Joe Biden. It's really hard when you see them. So I don't understand what the problem is with things getting better, but it doesn't seem like they want them to. And what I mean by that is it necessarily comes down to a problem where you have so she was asked by the press, "Hey, Kamala Harris, would you be up for some sort of a vaccine to come out? Would you take it?" Right? It's just, so she says, "Well, I'm not so sure if it would come out under Trump." So the tough part of that is if you really don't look into anything that's happening, you just follow what happened in the media and you just follow what the media tells you, big corporations, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, Vox, and Fox even, as well as CNN, probably the kingmaker right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard because they always tell you to not calm down, right? And they tell you they kind of really want to enforce the panic. They want the panic to go on, and I don't know really what they get out of it. It's kind of like it doesn't really benefit the media in any way.
Well, I mean, everyone's watching for updates.
That's true.
I mean,
that's true.
Like,
and it keeps their viewership up.
Like, I obviously don't have like numbers on this, but I can only assume that their viewership is like through the roof, especially during the pandemic.
I mean, at least at the heart of it, because everybody wants to cling to what's going on, especially not only. It's really tough because the United States. So you really don't really know this. Not a lot of people really pay attention to it, but so the media has gotten the United States in such a news blackout that when you come to the United States, you don't hear about the news going on in other countries. So they'll show you clips of what's going on in Italy. They'll show you what happens. Oh, a terrorist attack happened in France. They'll show you quarantine videos of what's going on in France, riots happening in France, riots happening in Britain, whatever. The big gridlock that happened in France a couple of days ago.
Yep.
I know everybody's trying to flee France. But the United States really doesn't. So all right. So I watch Andrew Klavan, huge, Republican, part of Daily Wire, and he said that he had a British friend came over, and they said that he could understand the news. He understand the culture and understand everything else, but he said, but the news blackout was so huge, and the reason why he says that is because we don't cover really a lot of things that happen outside of our borders, much the same that Britain, France, Germany would. And
well, I mean, there's nothing really interesting going on. In comparison.
But what I mean is, so now all we see is the statistics. You look at the big map. And it shows you all the rise in cases, how America's at the pinnacle of cases and stuff. But what people really don't understand is going along with Pfizer, along with the other companies that were making the vaccines, pushing for the vaccines. America does more testing than any other country, right? So we have way more people per capita than Britain, than France. So Britain, right? So people are like, well, we have more deaths per capita than Britain. Okay, fine. Britain's the size of Tennessee, and if I were to take Tennessee and compare that to Britain would probably have more deaths than Tennessee.
Oh, probably.
I mean, it could be the other way around. We know that Governor Andrew Cuomo absolutely slaughtered all the old people in New York, and when he said that the cases were down and that people weren't dying anymore, well, no shit, because there was nobody left to kill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have family from
Yeah.
New York, so you really kind of see that thing up close. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's oh man.
So,
Let's see what I've got in my notes here.
but going back to what I was trying to say was, it seems to be that the news, the news media, and the left side of the government doesn't really want things to calm down anyway. So it's like whenever Trump says he's launching a vaccine, or when he says that he's closing off the borders, come on down to Chinatown, let's party around and have something to eat. And then they turn around on him. They turn around on him and they say, well, he hasn't done anything, and we would have done more. When in February, not even in January, this guy already shut down the borders to China, trying to quell the spread of the virus into the United States. But it had already been too late because there were already people in the United States with the virus. And then in February, what was it? February-ish is when they said, "Come on down to Chinatown, we'll party around and have something to eat." And then the thing gets horrible. People start dying wildly, especially in the old folks' homes in New York underneath Andrew Cuomo. And that's the one I'll keep bringing up because that's the one I know because my family lives there. And it's like they start saying that this guy handled it amazingly. He handled it amazingly. What? Because a bunch of 70-year-olds had a life well lived and can't handle them anymore. Nancy Pelosi said to Trump, "Oh, he launched that boat to New York, but it's never going to get there." The next day it got there, right? Full of ventilators. None of them were ever touched. Thing went all the way back.
Oh yeah, it's like everything that he does, it can't be done right.
It can't be done right. It's the first time that this has happened in modern history. He could
cure cancer, and they would ask, "Oh, you cured cancer? How come you didn't cure like Ebola or something?"
Right. It's like cancer lives matter. It's like, so what I'm trying to say is, as Americans, regardless of who the president is, right? Wouldn't, if somebody said to you, well, we're going to make, if somebody said to you, a vaccine's coming out, this virus, you won't have to wear masks anymore because now everybody can just go about this vaccine. It's going to be just like the flu shot, right? And obviously there's risks of the flu shot. Something can always happen with a flu shot, but you still got a flu shot. Nobody's wearing a mask in flu season. I mean, now there are because, it's a virus, but nobody did that before, right? Because we have a flu shot. It's now just the common cold. The flu is just the common cold now. And I'm of the belief that this will end up just becoming the next common cold. If not, it'll just sit right next to it. I don't think this thing's ever going to go away. I don't think it's going to be cured. I think it's just going to be around.
No one's saying that it's ever going to go away, and no one on the right has ever said that it's unreal, unless you're one of those
conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theorists who have no background knowledge on anything. No one is saying that it isn't real. It is completely real. People definitely are dying from it, and people do get affected from it and get sick from it. I've known people who have gotten it, and it does have some lasting effects, sure, but it is definitely being overplayed by the media only because it's profitable to them. It's something that people are going to want to talk about.
Yeah.
And now that they're able to talk about it, they don't want to let it go. Because, Trump has a pretty good chance of being out of office in January.
Though that is still contested.
No,
do not know.
It is contested, yeah. But Biden seems to have the most linear path towards.
It's definitely an easier step for him.
Inaugurated in January. I think it's 21st.
Yeah,
I think it's
January 21st is, I think, the final date on when it's going to be.
Yeah, but as I was saying, Trump's going to be out of office soon. With Pfizer, with the vaccine, this big boogie monster that is the coronavirus, it's going to be gone soon. They're going to have nothing to talk about.
And you know what? And that's something else that I want to bring up. So going into it, I mean, just even setting aside the voting, obviously we have was it Don Lemon from CNN just straight up saying what's his name? Not Mazza, but the other guy from Vox, they're saying to just straight up pick up and move to Georgia and vote again, to double vote just to make sure their senator gets in. I'm sorry, even if you are joking, there are these things, they happen. I mean, Trump called this out way back. He called this out way back.
Everyone
you know
on the right was saying that it was going to happen.
Once
they announced
because
that they were
we've
going
never
to
had
voting.
we've never had mass mail-in voting before. This happened in Pennsylvania in the last election. They had so many issues with it. Why would they ever try this again? And of course, really things should start to look like. Honestly, I'm of the belief that Florida. Look at Florida. Florida had an absolute mess during Bush v. Gore. They had a recount. They had to do recount? It took 38 days, longest election almost in modern history. I think it was the longest election in modern history. It took the longest. It got literally almost right up to the deadline. 38 days of just straight recounts. I'm not saying that this will take that long, but Florida definitely got its shit together afterwards. But Pennsylvania has had this problem since Bush v. Gore, and they've never fixed it. There's been, 2 elections?
Trying to think. Yeah, I'd say about 2 or 3 elections.
Since Bush v. Gore? I'm like, I don't even know. So they've had this problem. They've never fixed it. Dominion is the voting software, and that was used by Pennsylvania. It's also been used in Michigan. I hear it's also been used in Georgia. And Dominion.
I don't want to jump the gun on anything, but I want to say that it was also used in Wisconsin. I might. And
you know what?
I may be getting a little mixed up. But
just to sound greasy, it's called Dominion.
No, yeah,
it doesn't sound too good to me. And it's been rejected by a number of other states because it has a lot of security flaws. And I'm sorry, when you have to recount it was a bunch of votes had to get recounted because they got flipped to Biden when they should have been Trump. I'm sorry. If that had been the other way around, I still would have been of the issue because I would have had an issue with it because something that a flip just shouldn't happen. And I think it was Georgia. No, I think it was Michigan. They were saying, well, just don't it wasn't even that, we don't have an issue. It was, and so it wasn't that we don't have an issue. It was just don't look at all. Now, I'm sorry, but if there was no foul play, then us looking shouldn't be an issue. You know what I mean? Just taking a look. And we have the head of this. We have Ted Cruz on this. We have Ted Cruz. We have Bill Barr, the mayor, Mayor Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor. We have these people on here. I mean, these guys are cocaine apex predator Mitch McConnell. Yeah. These guys aren't, these guys don't play around. And I won't say that they're best friends. I mean, I know that, talk about 4D chess, right? 4D chess, playing the long game. In those recounts that had happened back in Florida, Bush v. Gore.
I want to say that was 2000.
That was 2000.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, the lawyers that were there on the case were Ted Cruz.
Oh, yeah.
Ted Cruz, Amy Coney Barrett, and I think it was Bill Barr were the lawyers on the case. Or was it Mitch McConnell? I don't remember who the third person was.
I can't say positively that it was Bill Barr, but I'm almost certain.
Oh, it was another. And it's funny because if you look on the same trail today, is those 3 people. I mean, look at where Amy Coney Barrett now is in the Supreme Court. It was Kavanaugh.
Brett Kavanaugh?
So it was Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and Ted Cruz were in 2000 for Bush v. Gore.
That sounds about right.
And now here they are again. 2 of them in the Supreme Court and, Zodiac Killer, Ted Cruz in the Senate. And that guy, man, I've been following him for a long time. That dude's been putting up the fight. He just had that Logan Ack interview. Mm-hmm. Man, that guy is absolutely... He's just an amazing dude. Absolutely just doesn't let up.
I think one of the problems that, personally, I think is that what the left and Democrats don't like is that, we're trying to get things done. We're tired of sitting around. And I mean, the things that they've done, how have they really helped us?
Yeah.
I mean, Trump has been saying about Biden since Biden was the Democratic nominee. He's been saying it I think it's 46 years that
47 years this dude's been in politics. He's run for president 3 times and has failed all 3 times. This is his 4th time running.
Yeah, it's just what has he done? He has done, he's done a lot.
I don't want to say good.
No, yeah, definitely
I don't want to
not
say he's
good.
done good, but
and a lot of people bring up the fact that it's from they're from different times, which they most definitely are. They most definitely are from different times, and
Yes.
politics were way different back then than they were now.
Yeah.
But I just find it funny how that excuse is always applied to Joe Biden, but never applied to Donald Trump in anything that's happened.
Oh, so, and you know what? And a lot of people don't understand. So they say that, okay, so big thing is Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump's a homophobe. And the biggest, easiest way to slap those two things down is to understand, one, that when the whole transgender bathroom thing was coming to light, Donald Trump was the first to implement a third bathroom. And he said, if whatever your pronouns are, you can use that bathroom. It's up to you. I'm not going to disrespect who you are by your gender. And if you're gay, he doesn't have a problem with. So
he said on numerous occasions that that personally, he isn't for being gay. He would never be gay himself.
Yeah.
But
he's not into men, but he doesn't have a problem with people who are.
Yeah, and
a story is
nobody should. No. I mean, no one is out here saying that you can't that you shouldn't that you shouldn't gay people, trans people, members of the LGBTQ+.
I don't know anybody personally of the right. Maybe if I do, they don't tell. But I don't really know anybody of the right who has an opposition to anybody that's gay or transgender. The only problem that we have is just don't shove it in our face. You know what I mean? Veterans get it. I mean, veterans have been fighting wars for ages, and they get a day, and you're gay and you get a month.
Yeah,
that sounds a bit greasy to you. How much equality do you want? You're more equal than our veterans are.
And it's it's a big thing that it's gonna keep coming up, and it's definitely a topic that should be discussed.
Right.
I think that if, especially in our country and in our democracy, if you feel a certain way, then you should certainly express it. And if you feel that you aren't being treated the same as everyone else, then most certainly express it. That it's gone on as most prevalently in the Black community, especially during the Civil Rights Movement.
Yeah, the war on poverty, which dragged out, made things worse for African Americans for an extra 8 years. Mm-hmm. And the sorry part about that is when the president left office, LBJ, he said he'll have those N-words voting Democrat for 200 years. I'm sorry, here we are, less than 200 years later, and the Black majority still votes Democrat. And only now do we have, Candace Owens leading the way with Blexit, Blexit Foundation, trying to move African Americans. Joel Patrick is a huge name. A lot of people know him. He's trying to move things over to, encourage African Americans that the other side isn't so bad. The grass really is greener, and it is a lot tastier. And it won't get offended if you eat it. Yeah. And something else I want to go back to is, the Blexit tying African American community. So something that always struck me was somebody who was friends with Rosa Parks and spent a lot of time with her was Donald Trump. And there are pictures of them together. You can, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. They are there together, and they're sitting right next to each other side by side. But out of all the pictures you can find of Rosa Parks, you'll find more pictures of her with Donald Trump than you will with Joe Biden. And there's a reason for that, because back when Joe Biden started 47 years ago, so he started when he was he was been in politics since he was too young to be in politics. So he got sworn into, I think, a senator. He had to wait for his 21st birthday to be sworn in. He was there. Yeah. They elected him and had him wait to have him go in. And when he finally got in, he got cozy with the segregationists, and it's not even like this is a lie or a fib, because even Kamala Harris understood that. And in a debate between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, I think it was the presidential Democratic debates. She said she launched the hashtag a girl like me, and she sold shirts, and the whole hashtag a girl like me was to Joe Biden, when she would say that she would have girls like me going to different schools than white folks. And he, like I said, he cozied up with all the segregationists, and not to spread rumors, but some say that he even knew, Klansmen. Klansmen were in the Senate at the same time he was, so it's not like it's unlikely on the Democratic side of the party.
There are pictures of him, and there's evidence of him being, cozy with not only the segregationists, but also Klan members.
There are pictures of this, and it's something really greasy because I'm sorry, I know a lot of people come from, you have white grandparents, right, who aren't racist, but they definitely came from the time where there were, and obviously they came in from the back end of it. But something that really should be understood is that when you say that if you're not voting for me, you ain't black enough. When you say stuff like that, it really just shows us.
The true colors.
Because that means that, they never really have to, when he says, oh, I was sitting in the car with Corn Pop, and I saw, these two black men kissing, and I said, Corn Pop, what's that all about? And he goes, well, if you love somebody, you love somebody. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that story ever happened, because if that had happened and then this dude grew up to be cozy with the KKK and segregationists, then what? Did he just forget? And what, he just suddenly remembered, Attic Half Care, right? Attic Half Care for all. I don't understand how this guy can remember some things and forget them. And, for Kamala Harris to come out and say, a girl like me, it really shows that she understood that he should get a food taster, because even she doesn't really trust him.
No, I mean? And, obviously there isn't apparent evidence of this, but I definitely think that the stars are aligning in the Democratic and, most importantly, Kamala Harris's favor to be on a one-way trip to probably the most powerful seat in our country.
And it feels really greasy when you realize that the Republican Senate is going to have to be the shield for Joe Biden. And I was thinking about this. So
not even a shield. It's going to be more of it's going to be a babysitter.
It's going to be a babysitter, because what's going to happen is you're going to have the far progressive left pushing around Joe Biden like the little kid in the lunch line. And you're going to have the Republicans saying, well, this guy. So the difference between having a corrupt government and an inert government is, so if we have all the seats, if we have all the bases pretty much covered from the House all the way to the Supreme Court, that leaves no room for the Democrats to wiggle around. And eventually, Republicans, if Trump doesn't become president again, if the honorable, Trump doesn't become president again, it's going to be a short, long life for the Republican majority in the Senate. But for as long as they can hold it, they would probably push for an inert government than a corrupt one. And the reason why I say that is because if Joe Biden's in, there's not going to be a whole lot for this man that he's going to be able to do, because he's going to be he's going to be held back by the Republican Party, which isn't a bad thing, especially if you want your rights. So I have a lot of people, and I say, so something else I want to go back to was the media and Trump, as well as chaos. So I know I talked a lot about this, but something that I also want to say was, when you have somebody like Don Lemon, or the other dude there, that South American guy from CNN.
His name is escaping me.
His name is escaping me too, but I can't remember. That's how unrememberable he is.
Not because he's African American. That's not what we're alluding to before anyone.
Yeah, he sounds Australian.
Jumps the
gun. But when you have people like this, just straight up saying, "Hold on a minute," because I have to. The media, give us a moment in the media, because we have to. It's almost like a breakup with Trump. I'm sorry, or what was it? George Stephanopoulos holding his American Girl doll, also named George Stephanopoulos, crying because he's gonna have to break up with Trump. And the issue is that shows you really a lot, because for the last 4 years, what brought the progressive left and the classic liberal left together was their hatred for Trump. And now that Trump's going to be gone soon, I don't even know. So this guy's going to be gone soon, and you're going to have the left is probably going to start tearing itself apart from the inside out, because there's no Trump to talk about. So now they're going to have to start saying the quiet parts out loud. So because now there's no Trump, then COVID's going to go away, which also helped bring, the progressive left. I mean, think about back to the Patriot Act. When the Patriot Act was initiated to help spy on Americans, that really worked in the favor of Obama, because Obama was now able to use really sleazy things. And a lot of people, Republicans and Democrats, voted for Obama alike, and that's why if you look at the political maps, it was absolutely a landslide. Mm-hmm. The problem was he was such a smooth talker, but in his words, he was such a knife fighter. And what I mean by that was he suggested to use the to go after Republican candidates and Republican officials through the IRS, and they did. He absolutely taxed them into submission, and the same thing happens. I mean, Trump talks about it all the time. The IRS is absolutely not his friend, and they make sleazy deals with him and try to lowball him and undercut him. And that's, when they got his tax returns, and that's kind of illegal actually to pull somebody's tax returns without their permission. And oh, well, guess what? He has like almost $0 paid in tax. Well, yeah, because he was forced to prepay taxes to a stupid amount, so he probably won't even have to pay taxes for the next few years. And it's like, when he is gone, like, what do you think the left is going to do to itself? They're going to start black holing themselves and swallowing themselves from the inside out. And it's like, there's not going to be anything left. It's just going to be a huge power vacuum. And that's exactly why you have people on the right, like the Daily Wire, Blaze TV with Steven Crowder. These people are going to start pulling up, and they call themselves the replacement media for the legacy media, because the legacy media is going to tear itself to pieces, and you're going to have the replacement media jump up into it. So you're going to have people like, the Daily Wire, and you're going to have the Blaze jump in as the actual news sources. Just recently, 4 days ago, I think it was, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, Steven Crowder had posted a video that he had just surpassed the Young Turks in viewers. I mean, that's just the first one down.
Oh, yeah.
And consistently on Good Morning Mud Club, there is more viewership on both TV and YouTube, or he passes CNN on viewership, combining their TV views versus their YouTube views together. Steven Crowder still gets more views. He still gets more views than CNN. And that's the second one down. And it's only going to keep growing and growing and growing till, your Lennemans and your Stephanopoulos are out of job because there's just nothing left to see.
Mm-hmm. And back to what you were saying about the left, it's just like they're going to collapse in because, like you were saying, just like the classic liberal left is going to be like, woohoo, yay, no more COVID and no more Trump, what now? And the super far left progressives are going to be like, oh, let's do this, this, and this. And the rest of the left is going to be like, that doesn't sound like a good idea, because they're very radical ideas.
Absolutely.
And
they're dangerous.
A lot of
change
has come because of radical ideas
yes.
in our country. But there also have been a lot of radical ideas that have not been good.
The Patriot Act was the perfect thing, and that's why we all thought Edward Snowden was a bad guy, and until recently I learned that he really wasn't, because of the information that he leaked about the Patriot Act. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but the government's not always your friend. And that's why the large cities are always going to be more democratic than the country, and even here in Rhode Island, because when the government's there, when the city takes care of you, you're more prone to rely on the government, right? So it becomes a harder issue. As you get out, you go further to farmland. Even here in Rhode Island, you go all the way down to where my dad grew up in Westerly.
Mm-hmm. Even
they're all Republicans.
Even the Foster, Exeter, West
Foster,
Greenwich area.
They're always overwhelmingly Republican because they have no government to take care of them out there. It's just them.
In the cities, it's like with the government just having such a prominent control in the cities, a lot of because there is a high population and there is
that's what I mean. You're never going to find a hobo out in the country.
Mommy and daddy never left you, so now you don't have to do anything for yourself.
Yes.
Really. And there was a lot of what happened with Obama and his
Obamacare.
His Obamacare and the entire welfare system. It was just a lot of, oh, you don't want to work? Here's some money. Oh,
here's a phone, a Nokia Lumia.
No, yeah, and it's just no one never had to really work, a day in their life.
Yeah,
and a lot of the thing was, especially in the Black community,
it really just held them down because their culture was already relying off the government from the war on poverty. And when they got this, it was just filling up the bottle of milk and sticking it back in the baby's mouth.
Mm-hmm. And it's no doubt that a lot of where the Black community is in cities.
Yes.
And you take the city plus the government control in the cities plus the Black community, it doesn't make well for anyone except, the government, because they're just able to sit there and to be like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Here's some money.
There's some money. And, just going back into that, you're talking about Obamacare and how much of a mess. So Trump, in his next term, if he gets elected, is trying to abolish it altogether. And people ask, well, how come he didn't abolish it in his first term? Well, he was really trying to make something of nothing. And if you look at what he's done with Obamacare, he's been trying to restructure and reuse it and try and make something of what he had. But the problem was the system is so broken, so corrupt that you can't really fix it. And what I mean by that is, when you start giving government healthcare, you start eliminating the room for privatized healthcare. And the market was getting choked to death in the privatized healthcare system. And privatized healthcare was absolutely skyrocketing in prices because, I'm sorry, you can't compete with a government that has a bottomless pocket, right? So
and
you start suffocating them.
A big reason why that privatized healthcare and privatized like medication is a big thing, because it's just like any restaurant chain. It's, the restaurants are competing in competition with each other, so they have to make better prices. They have to make better advancements, because if you don't adapt, you lose.
Yes.
And now, if you have the government that controls everything, you don't have to go anywhere, because now
it all comes in.
No, yeah, it all goes full circle, and there will be no development. A lot of the reasons why most developments in modern medical advancements have happened in the United States is because of capitalism and privatized healthcare.
And what? Yeah, because something going back after that. What people don't understand is competition. Breeds creation. So just like necessity breeds creation, just like but necessity breeds creation. I think it's what I'm trying to get at is, when you have competition, things are going to get better because everybody wants to be better than the next guy. So if Pfizer can come out with the COVID shot, right? And then the next guys come out with an even better COVID shot. And the next guys will come out with an even better COVID shot. Now they start dropping their prices because now they want to get purchased. And one may not be better than the other one, but they still have one, and it's for a lower price. And that's capitalism. Capitalism opens up the market, and it's just like in our military, right? So you have the military, our Air Force, right? Our Air Force isn't produced by one company. You have Northrop Grumman. You have
even
Boeing,
even every branch of the
every
military.
Branch. But why I say the Air Force is because that's the one where you see the most progression from the F-22 all the way back to the F-14. And what I mean by that is, you have the next company, Northrop, competes against Boeing to make the next fighter jet to come out, and it's always going to be better.
Even just like the Navy, like General Dynamics, which is right down the road in Rhode Island, in Quonset, and then they're also competing with Northrop, which has a lot of their headquarters in Newport.
So you have
and
General Electric.
It's like General Dynamics.
General Dynamics, rather. Yeah.
I think like a subdivision of them is like Electric Dynamics.
And again, Northrop does ships as well, and there's another operating company. But what I mean is, like, when we're able to have such good advancements in technology because of competition. And it's something that you look at Russia, you look at China, and you look at even look at Britain. When you have the government top down over everything, things come almost to a standstill. And you have to license things as the government yourself, and that becomes heavy because now your advancements are so much slower. Where
a lot of the reason for that,
the competition just absolutely pushes technology forward, and that's why we're leading the way. And people are like, well, why is America leading the way? And that must be propaganda. No, it's because we have competition.
And a lot of what's happening is people don't really understand is that you can either have everything's free for everyone, or you can have everything's good for everyone. You can't have both. Like, there may certainly be a way that you can have both, but we just haven't found it. And
no, absolutely.
The left isn't giving us a way that we can have both.
No, because they all want good. They all want big government and big brother. And the problem with that is, like I said, so I have a cousin from Canada, right? So I have a cousin from Canada, and I know a few people from Russia. And the same thing two different continents, but they're still saying the same exact thing. And they're saying this: if you have the common cold, if you broke an ankle, or if you're over the age of 65, you're never getting into a hospital. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
In Russia, they don't even act like COVID exists because the hospitals aren't even equipped to handle it. You'll never see somebody in Russia with a mask on because they don't care, because they know that their government can't handle them going to a hospital. In Canada, right, they do wear masks. They mask the shit up out of themselves. They don't have enough ventilators to go around for one small community. And it's unfortunate because now my cousin, if her grandmother was to get COVID, I'm Ecuadorian. My Tío Jorge got COVID. He was really bad. They put him in the hospital, put him on life support. He was struggling. They moved him out, put him into a nursing home, not like New York. And he started to get better because his body started to rebound. It started to get better. At 70, how old is he? Is he like 70? I don't know. He's like 78, I think. Or maybe he's like older than that. He's an old man, and he got better. He recovered from it. And it's unfortunate because then you see over there in Canada, when they don't have enough things to go around, these people, they struggle. You know what I mean? And they can't get the healthcare they need because it's free. But free means lines. What? Bread lines are good because at the end of the bread line, there's bread. But no, because now the guy at the end of the line gets up to the front of the bread line and there is no bread for him.
Yeah. And I don't think I really could have said it like any better. I haven't had any family members who have been personally afflicted by it, but I think we're nearing the end of our time here. So so
like a few last things to wrap it up, and I'll probably end it off with a couple of quotes.
Nothing that I can really touch on again that would take up less than like 2 minutes.
So what I'll leave off on is this, and I was just talking about this, and I've said this quote a couple of times, is this: Republicans have absolutely no issue voting Democrat, and you can see that in Clinton. You can see that in Kennedy. You can see that in Obama. It was always a landslide for these guys because we thought they had a good message. We have no problems voting for a Democrat if we think their message is good. Most of the time it isn't, but we think it is. So we vote for them.
Select few.
And the quote I was going to leave off with is this. I think it was said by Reagan, and he said, Republicans think Democrats are wrong, but Democrats think Republicans are evil. And that's because you'll never see a Democrat vote Republican. And another thing that Reagan said also was that it's not that they're ignorant, it's that everything they know is wrong. From all the facts, from all the lies, from Russia collusion to him being racist, him being sexist, nothing has ever come out true about Donald Trump. And it's because everything that they think they know, everything that people that hate Donald Trump have never stopped and actually done research on if that claim is really true. And I think that's really dangerous because when you have the news media telling you that it is true, you'll never have the ambition, you'll never have the will to look it up yourself because I'm supposed to trust an unbiased media when they're not unbiased, no matter how much they tell you they are. So I think that's,
no one's saying that we're unbiased. Like we are.
We are absolutely biased. I mean, we're the right wing,
biased.
Bearded Review, right side of news.
Mm-hmm. But
the right is right.
The right is right. But with that, that concludes our first installment of the Bearded Review. I don't think we actually properly introduced ourselves in the beginning of.
For those of you who do not know me, I am Adam Davenport. No, I'm kidding. I'm Lucas Vargas, and this is my pal here.
I'm Adam Davenport, if you don't know me.
And we hope to do this every weekend, come on here and talk about, obviously this is our first try. We're not going to be perfect this time, and we're going to get better over time, and hopefully we'll climb up. But this is our first go at something new, something that we thought was probably long coming. And here at the end, going into all this mischief and this chaos between the election and the hatred for Donald Trump, I feel like even if Donald Trump doesn't get elected, which I'm not bothered by, I'm willing to respect the new president, we can really sort of skyrocket through this power vacuum that's going to come up, because there's going to be news to cover no matter what president makes it through. So,
all right. Well, I think it's a good place to end it. So, peace.
here we are. See you next week.